Good evening and welcome to City Council. The City Council thanks you for being part of city government. At meetings, the City Council takes formal action on items, holds public hearings, and conducts other business of the city. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov/agenda. And they can also be found at the back of the room at the table. This meeting is also being televised live on PSC TV Channel 191, on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamed on the city's Facebook page, website, YouTube channel, and GoToWebinar. This and previous council meeting video is available on the city's website. Lastly, the public may submit their comments and or questions by contacting the city manager, the city clerk, or by using the Ask Pasco app. And with that, can I get roll call, please?
Council members Blaisdell,
Here.
Grimm,
Here.
Milne,
Here.
Morales,
Here.
Roach,
Present.
Serrano,
Here.
and Mayor Barajas.
Present. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's correct. If we do have the children from Boy Scouts and Troop 100 and Troop 159. If you want to step forward, we're going to do this again. I was going through the agenda. Okay.
Color guard attention.
Turn on your mic.
Color guard attention. Audience, please rise. Color guard, forward march. Halt. Post the colors. Please repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ahora en español, now in Spanish. Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. 2. Color guard reassemble. Forward march. Color guard dismissed. Audience, you may be seated.
Troop, you did a fabulous job. I apologize, I was there a little too quick there. And with that,
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move up the miscellaneous portion of the meeting to after item number 8, public comments. We have a number of folks here with children and want to get them off to bed so they can get to school tomorrow.
there's a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes unanimously. Thank you. So our next item on the agenda is actually the oath of office for our new elected officials. Do we want them out in the front? Mr. Grimm, or Councilmember Grimm, if you'd like to step forward. Councilman Perales, Councilman Milne, and Councilman Harpster, if you'd like to step forward. And actually, we do have Judge Stillwell who will be administering the oath.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'll administer the oath now. I'll ask that you repeat what I say. Raise your right hands, please. So I, and then state your name.
I, Charles Grimm,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform
that I will faithfully and impartially perform
and discharge the duties of the office
and discharge the duties of the office
of council member.
of council member
And state your district and position number, please.
of District 2
Thank you. For the city of Pasco,
for the city of Pasco,
according to the law,
according to law,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations. We have an oath for you to sign this evening before you leave. Congratulations.
And there you have it, our four new council members. And at this time, I'd like to call a 10-minute recess, so you can all take pictures with your family members and everyone else. So we'll resume the meeting at 7:19. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone that stayed. If you can please find a seat. If there's no seats, it's going to be a long night for you, but thank you again for sticking around. We'll move along with our agenda here, moving on to next item on the agenda, item 6, consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by City Council and will be enacted by roll call vote as one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If further discussion is desired by council members, it may be removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda and considered separately. Item A, approval of meeting minutes for November 20th and November 27th. Item B, bills and communications approving the claims in the total amount of $7,277,596.19 and bad debt write-off totaling $389,397.40. Item C, cancellation of December 11, December 18, and December 26, 2023 regularly scheduled council meetings. Item D, Arts and Cultures Commission reappointment of Ashlyn Maloney. And with that, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Thank you. Can I get roll call vote, please? Oh, sorry.
I'll second that.
Seconded. And roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Serrano.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm.
Yes.
Councilmember Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilmember Milne.
Yes.
Councilmember Roach.
Yes.
Councilmember Peralez.
Yes.
Mayor Barajas.
And that's yes. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Moving on to our next item on the agenda, item number 7, proclamations and acknowledgements. There's none listed. So we move on to item number 8, public comment. The public may address council on any items unless it relates to a scheduled public hearing. Oh, we have a protester. So we should not do public comment, Mr. Protester? There's a petition. Okay, we'll move along. We'll let him stay in the back. This item is provided to allow the opportunity to bring items to the attention of City Council or express an opinion on an issue. Its purpose is not to provide a venue for debate, Mr. Grinch, or for the posing of questions with the expectation of an immediate response. Some questions require consideration by council over time and after a deliberative process with input from a number of different sources. Some questions are best directed to staff members who have access to specific information. Citizen comments will normally be limited to 3 minutes each by our clerk, and we have a handy timer in the front. Mr. Grinch, you please stay to your 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. The Grinch has requested kindly for me to speak on his behalf tonight. So Mr. Grinch, he resides at Mount Crumpet. Tonight he's here to talk about his concerns about Winterfest that is being held this Saturday, December 9th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Peanuts Park.
Are you blocking the timer, Mr. Grinch? You can't do that.
He's prepared a written statement he would like to share with council on his feelings. So, festive children are a tad too festive. Their energy during festivals make his morning coffee look like decaf. They can stare at their phones for all he cares. Santa Claus is coming to town, but does he have to? I vote he skips Pasco this year. Children on a sugar rush? Kids aren't pleasant as it is. You plan to give them candy and sweets. This is only going to make them louder. Bright holiday lights are a bit blinding. The glowing decorations are a sight, but let's remember that some of us prefer the dark, cozy caves. It would certainly make my evening prowls much easier by using a dim, energy-saving light bulb. Endless carols are an earful of cheer. The same songs over and over. It feels like a Christmas Groundhog Day. There's simply too
Mr.
much that
Grinch.
must change.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grinch.
For these
Your
reasons,
heart needs to
I,
grow.
the Grinch, demand that Winterfest be canceled.
Well, Mr. Grinch, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grinch, for showing up and showing your interest and your love of Christmas.
We'll see you at Winterfest.
All right, and with that, we do have a caller online. Caller, can you hear us?
Caller, can you unmute yourself, please?
By caller, so my name is Leslie Maxwell. Are you calling on me? Sorry.
Yes,
I don't know
if
if
you
you
could
have
please state your
multiple
name and
people. Okay.
address for the record.
Leslie Maxwell.
Thank you.
Sorry, I won't be as entertaining as the Grinch. But I was born in Kennewick. I lived in Pasco for the past decade, and I recently moved to Richland. I'm here to ask council members to take active measures towards ending any of our tax dollars being sent to Israel. In almost 60 days, 21,000 Palestinians have been murdered, 8,312 children, 4,207 women, over 37,000 injured. Majority of the 2 million people are displaced. That's a 1.7 million people being displaced. While Americans live paycheck to paycheck, I struggle to afford groceries. Our government sends $3.8 billion each year. Tri-Cities alone sends $2.5 million each year. As we approach the holidays, I hate to remind everyone, for the first time in modern history, no Christmas is happening in Bethlehem. In solidarity with their suffering Palestinians, look at that beauty and humanity. Wow, look how this issue is dividing us here at home. Please, as council members, do all in your power to stop U.S. tax dollars going to Israel, specifically our local tax dollars, until it abides by international humanitarian law and takes active steps towards peace talks. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. And I'd like to invite anyone in chambers, if you wish to make a statement or a comment, please step forward to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
Madam Mayor, Council, my name is Dallas Green. I live at 10508 West Court Street in Pasco. I'd like to congratulate those recently elected and re-elected to City Council. Now the real work starts. There was a lot of good talk last week among council members describing the commitments required, your need for objectiveness, and the scrutiny you will face. I believe you are all up to the task. The citizens of Pasco are fortunate to have a strong team of career professionals, all interested in the public good. What directors and staff need from council is clear and focused direction. Planning and budgets must be realistic. Spending must be questioned by council members, not automatically approved. Last-minute additions by council for such things as specialty kitchens have a direct impact to other needed projects. I doubt most people outside of this room know what a specialty kitchen is, but I do know on a recent capital improvement list, it is seeking an additional $1.4 million of city money. There is another capital improvement item for over $5.6 million listed for council chambers. I don't know about you, but I think this room looks fairly nice and works fairly well. I'm just a guy trying to get the city to pay for a few stop signs to slow traffic on my street. We have a speeding problem that affects users of the Sacagawea Trail. In the two examples I gave, the city would like to commit a combined figure of over $7 million to kitchens and chambers. For that amount of money, I'll bet Chief Roski and Deputy Chief Cook could hire 5 or 6 officers for a full-time traffic unit. That type of expenditure would benefit all citizens of Pasco. In closing, remember your campaign promises. Transparency to the public.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you real quick? If I can ask anyone that has your phone on, please turn it off, put it on mute. If you must have a conversation, please step outside the council chambers. Thank you. Proceed. Sorry about that.
In closing, remember your campaign promises, transparency to the public, watching the public's money, asking the real hard questions, safety, and most importantly, law and order. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Nancy Roach. I'm at 8212 Sunset Lane in Pasco. And I'm just here to acknowledge the service of our daughter-in-law, Zara. I want to say that you are a woman of strong character. You have been a role model to many in our family and to the community. You're respectful, even hard conversations. We've had some hard conversations in our family. You're compassionate, and you're often the first one to say, I'll be there when someone is grieving or when someone is in need. You're reliable. You've had great capacity for sustained commitment to family and to community. We're grateful that you have served, and we thank you so much, Zara, for answering the call and representing us so well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Please step forward.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. I'm Devin Diaz. I live at 5143 Al Court in West Richland. Today marks a poignant moment as we gather to bid farewell to an extraordinary individual, Councilmember Zara Roach. Not only has she been a dedicated public servant, she has also been a dear friend to many of us. In my role as president of Drew Boy Creative, I've had the privilege of witnessing the transformative power of art in our lives. Art can serve as a catalyst for community development and foster a unique identity for a community. Councilmember Roach, understanding this, played a pivotal role in creating the City of Pasco's first Arts Commission, as well as seeing the improvements made downtown. Councilwoman Roach has also been a tireless champion of diversity and equality. For the last year, I've worked for a statewide environmental justice coalition, which has given me a new perspective and increased admiration for the City of Pasco and Zara's role on council. Her legacy, marked by passion and dedication, will endure in the hearts and within the very fabric of this city. On behalf of the Drew Boy Creative community, my wife and I extend our heartfelt thanks to Councilmember Roach for her outstanding service. As she embarks on a new chapter, I wish her success and fulfillment in all of her future endeavors. Zara, your impact on our community will be a lasting testament to the positive change that can be achieved through dedication, compassion, and a profound understanding of the human experience. Thank you, Zara, for your service, your friendship, and the mark you left on the City of Pasco.
Any other comments?
Hi, my name is Sabiha Khan and my address is 6205 Midland Lane, Pasco. I am Zara's mother. I would like to thank Zara for her selfless service to the city of Pasco and its residents. The thing that I appreciate most about Zara is that all the decisions that she has made were guided by her inner North Star. Zara worked very hard to make Pasco a more inclusive, a more just, a more equitable, and a more livable and a more lovable city. I know that some of you may say that she made some trouble, but it was all good trouble. So I want to also, for some of you who may not know this, Zara was the first Muslim woman to be elected to the state in the state of Washington. I see some heads nodding, so some of you, of course, know this. And it was the city of Pasco that elected her as to this first public office. So the city of Pasco has a claim to fame because of Zara, because of my Zara. Zara has been in this hall for the last 12 years, and first as a member of the Planning Commission, then as a Planning Commission chair, and then on the City Council for the last 4 years. Zara has poise, she has charisma, she's eloquent, she's brave and bold, and she has star power. She's a rock star. She will. When she leaves this seat, it will be a void that very few will be able to fill. My grandkids who were here, who did the Pledge of Allegiance, they have been in this hall for 9 months each because none of them were born when she started coming to this room. So in 10 years from now, if one of them is seated here, don't be surprised because this is a second home to them. I don't know what Zara's futures hold, whether she's going to return to public office or not, but I know for a fact that she's going to rock the nonprofit world. God bless you, Zara, and God bless this hall and the city council and all of you, and thank you.
Are there any other comments? We have, give me just a second, gentlemen here. Did you want to step forward?
I do, but I want them to have an opportunity to
Okay.
make their comments about council members.
Sounds good. If I can have her first and then you.
I'm Virginia Tomlinson. I live at 608 Road 52. I want to second everything that's been said about Zara Conroach's contributions to the city of Pasco. And I think the two strengths that I want to reiterate are her ability to speak the truth when it's unpopular and her ability to bring people together. And I'd like to challenge all of the council members to follow that model as they begin their work or continue their work on the Pasco City Council. Thank you. And thank you, Zara, for your work.
My name is Mike Roach, and Zara is my daughter-in-law. I live at 8212 Sunset Lane, Pasco, Washington. I just want to say that have been so proud to call her my daughter-in-law and a Pasco City Council member, but now I can't do that anymore, so I say she was a City Council member. I think her integrity is unquestionable. She's bright, she's very bright, and grasps situations readily. She's a quick study. With a full-time job and a full-time family to raise, she now has a very busy agenda, and this is what is bringing us to this moment. I'm grateful that she was able to give of her time and energy to the city of Pasco for this amount of service here. Somebody said, what's her future hold? I've been telling her since I saw she was interested in public office that someday she'd be Secretary of Education for the state of Washington. I think that's her role, because she's a teacher. Thank you very much.
Any other comments?
Good evening, council, council members, mayor, city managers, fellow citizens. First off, my name is Julian Jensen. I'm a representative with the Western States Council, Carpenters Local 59. I'd like to first off say congratulations to the newly elected council members, those that were re-elected, and then a special thank you to a couple of our former city council members who are here in attendance. Those folks are owed a debt of gratitude. Tonight I wanted to speak on what has become a bit of a sore subject, and that is the Lewis Street overpass. Obviously, we have a lot of cost overruns and change orders and whatnot that go with that project. So this is mainly for the new city council members. I would ask that in conjunction with the current folks that have been here before, that we remain vigilant on that project, questioning every charge that comes up, looking at everything that's going on with that project, that the contractor is following state and local laws, regulations, policies, whatever. In particular, apprenticeship utilization. I know that the state has a certain percentage, 15%, that needs to be adhered to. Forgive me, I think there may have been an update on where they're at currently on the project. It was rather low last time I heard a number. So anyhow, do remain vigilant with that project. And also, let's consider our future projects and what that's going to bring to the city. This is a great city, a great community, and we want nothing but the best for us here. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead and step forward.
I just wanted to say a big thank you. Oh, my name is Alexia Strada, 519 South Cedar Ave, Pasco. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to Councilmember Roach. The first time I ever stepped foot in this room was actually because you invited me. And you're the reason that I was able to get so civically engaged and connected to community. So as a council member, I think you did such a great job serving the young adults in your community, as I was able to also invite more folks to also become civically engaged because of your time and mentorship and commitment to our town. So thank you.
And we have two individuals, gentleman in the back, red jacket, and sir, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Mayor Barajas and City Council. Congratulations to those who were recently elected, recently appointed, and those who will take the oath upcoming. Congratulations on your new positions. My name is Scott Lehrman, 6514 West Park Street. Just wanted to say congratulations on her service. People have said many great things about Councilmember Roach. Consider her a great friend. Thank you for all that you've done for the city. My wife, Kim, asked me to read this as she had some dental work done today, so she wrote up a statement, so the majority of my statement here is from her, but echoed by me and my family as well. So she has a quote here: "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and become more, then you are a leader." John Quincy Adams. Tonight is a hard night to absorb as we're witnessing our friend Zara Roach's last night as City of Pasco's at-large position 7 councilwoman. It is without a doubt that Councilmember Roach is a servant leader in our community, a leader who inspires the next generations of leaders. Kim remembers meeting her for the first time at City of Pasco's 4th of July parade. Seeing her walk hand in hand with her children as she met with residents was a powerful image of representation that was inspiring. Many children, especially Asian children in the Tri-Cities, as her mom mentioned, she's the first Muslim council member, and such as my own Japanese American children, have witnessed, she writes her parents, I served on the school board here, I guess, elected and serving here in Pasco when the Pasco community sometimes limits the definition of diversity. Pushing the status quo comes with price, yet Zara has demonstrated great leadership in the face of adversity. She turned the other cheek over and over and had great courage and carried on in serving the entire community, even those who posed a risk. Her character of courage and moral compass is unmatched. Serving all residents from East, Central, and West Pasco was and is a value that she not only spoke of, but carried out with action. As a former educator, Kim said, this is for Zara. Zara, a former educator, she's challenged others to learn more, from voter registration drives to city zoning topics to city government access, how to collaborate with residents to advocate at the state level, as she did with the well-received community letter in support of the MLK Center to gain grant renovation funds, and most importantly, how to learn more about each other, how to look past differences and yet celebrate differences that you can both see and those that you cannot. Zara's advocacy work in her professional job as director of Children's Developmental Center to her known value of building and supporting an inclusive city of Pasco. Councilmember Roach desired to serve all and create community where members felt a sense of belonging. It's something that one cannot measure and one cannot replace. The Lehrman family thanks the entire Roach family and Kahn families for their sacrifices, especially her husband John and her children. Thank you, Councilmember Roach, for your sacrifices and your servant heart in which you served our community with throughout your term.
And then, is there anyone else that wishes to speak after the gentleman? Okay, we have 3 more. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. My name's James Carmody. I'm an attorney from Yakima. My address is 230 South 2nd Street, Yakima. And I'm here to address you and then make a request of you on behalf of 41 business owners, property owners, water right owners, developers, in virtually every aspect of the development real estate community touched by the water fee ordinance that you passed last week. The clerk has a petition signed by those individuals. On the front page, you'll see a list of the people. And it's not our intent tonight to sit and debate or argue with respect to the water ordinance that was adopted last week, but it's rather to ask you to consider to slow the process down. Take the time to engage the public. Call on the stakeholders, let them participate. There are a number of serious concerns with the ordinance that was adopted and issues that relate to those. I want to touch on just a couple of those. That ordinance was adopted at a special meeting without full engagement of the public, notification. Others will speak to their efforts to engage in this process. There's a 50% surcharge on property owners who have disposed of their water rights without knowing of the ordinance. That penalty and retroactive effect, in my judgment, it is unconstitutional and inappropriate. There is not been sufficient input with respect to the timing and the mechanism of how you assess that. Is it assessed all at one time or a time of occupancy? What does that mean? There's a brutal impact of the fee structure on affordable housing. I do a good deal of housing work on an affordable basis, and what I can tell you is where you download a full load on less affordable housing, you're going to impact adversely the ability to develop that housing. It's not the $1 million or $2 million houses, but the lower income that's impacted. So what we're asking of you is to slow the process, to either rescind that ordinance until there's been an appropriate and complete public process in order to gather input from all perspectives, or at a minimum to stay the implementation of that ordinance until you've been able to engage in that process. We're also asking that a select committee be appointed to participate in that and provide perspectives from all aspects of the community impacted by this. So we would specifically ask that there be a motion or a movement to simply defer this in order to allow an appropriate public process on that. So with that, I'll finish with that, and I think there'll be a few others to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And we had some gentlemen in the back of the room. I would like to remind everyone that we do have a 3-minute timer. If you can, please keep an eye on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. My name is Stephen Bauman, 3130 Varney Lane, Suite 102. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. I echo what Mr. Carmody shared, that I don't believe that the process was followed appropriate, especially with something that will impact housing this drastically. As soon as I found out about it, I worked diligently to try to understand the position that the city was coming from, and I think the process was rushed far too quickly. And especially, I think it needs to be noted that in the presentation to the city council, in that presentation, there was an 18% reserve in the bank. And so I don't know of anybody in the development community that doesn't recognize that water rights acquisition fees need to be addressed. However, with an 18% reserve, it is not a emergent issue, but there's opportunity for time to figure out how to phase that in. And like Mr. Carmody said, I believe that there's potentially unconstitutional to reach back 10 years backwards to actions that were taken as far as 10 years ago, and would ask that you would consider that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Previous council member Campos, if you'd like to step forward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. It's interesting to be on this side of the podium. I want to congratulate the newly electeds and Councilman Milne for your reelection. Good job. Briefly, Councilman Roach, I wanted to thank you for your service. We didn't get an opportunity to close with yours last week when Councilman Brown and I were taking our leave. And again, I just wanted to thank you so much for your courage. You sat there under a lot of situations that most people would be stressful to go through and kind of been the target of things, and you've handled it with grace and poise. The other side of that is you've expressly shown other council members, I think, how to be a voice for those, not just here in this room that speak the loudest, but those who are silent and remain uninvolved in their community. You've made it clear and have been a very good example on how to advocate for people who don't know that they need advocated for. And I just want to make that a lesson to the council members coming in that, you know, you're going to be put in that situation where you're going to have, case in point tonight, we've got members of the development community who are expressing their opinions, and they're not the only members of the community that you have to look out for. It's not just the loudest voice that you're advocating for, it's everybody's, including the silent. Which goes to Councilman Grimm. I want to congratulate you. You ran a great campaign. There's been a couple things, and I think that you've got the right heart to be a very good council member, but there's been a couple things that I want to share with you, and I think that you'll be reflective of these things, take them to heart, and improve on them. You wrote an article about a retaining wall off of 395 in Flamingo Village. Having grown up in that area and now representing those people, as you do, you should advocate for their safety, their health. Do they not deserve that wall up there? Yes, the graffiti is unsightly, but is it too late to take back your article, apologize, not necessarily apologize, but think reflectively and maybe say that you misstepped on that, because they are deserving of that retaining wall, they're deserving of their public safety, they're deserving of all the things and amenities that everybody else in the community deserve for. And you, as their newly appointed official, should be the loudest voice for them when they are not. So I just hope I'll leave you with that. I think you're going to do a great job, and I look forward to seeing what you do over the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Justin Carey, lifelong Pasco resident. Congratulations on winning. I would have voted for all of you if I could have. I can only vote for a couple of you though, so some rules that got changed a couple years ago. I'm glad that Mr. Campos mentioned speaking for people that don't have a voice. I wanted to speak about that myself. I like the timer too, that's a good idea. I pray you stand firm. For those of you that just were sworn in, I pray you stand firm on the Bible that some of you just placed your hand on, an oath to support the Constitution. I thought it was preserve, protect, and defend, but anyway. So here's your chance. The 5th and 14th Amendment and Article 1, Section 3 of the Washington State Constitution are exceptionally clear. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So at present, we have a Planned Parenthood on our city's main street. It's documented that at a minimum, over 1,300 Franklin County babies lost their lives without due process of law from 2009 to 2017. What's more, Planned Parenthood now has a Plan B vending machine on their front porch, which deprives babies of life, liberty without due process of law and any sort of medical supervision, unless you count the security cameras, I guess. Planned Parenthood also openly admitted back in June to having broken the 5th Amendment 34 times from January to May by handing out RU-46 and poisoning babies from Pasco to death, which appears to be a new feature in the Pasco Planned Parenthood. So if you're truly going to preserve, protect, and defend or support the Constitution, you must place a moratorium on all businesses who break the 5th Amendment, namely Planned Parenthood. I'm sure you could and may have heard multiple excuses to why this can't be done, but it's abundantly clear that doing God's will, which should be exceptionally clear in this case, is always the right decision, and that Jesus will always provide for those who take big worldly risks in his name. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a statement?
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Holden Diffner, 3818 West 47th Avenue in Kennewick. I want to echo what my friend Justin has said, and I want to provide a little bit of the important backdrop to that. I don't want to take away from anything tonight that's been said previous to this. A lot of genuine concerns there, but we're talking about something a little bit different here, obviously, a little more spiritual nature, and that's very important. You guys are civil magistrates. You guys are council members. You guys represent the city of Pasco. You guys have authority, and with that authority, you guys have obligation, and that is not only and not solely from your constituents who elected you, but from God. Romans 13 says that God has appointed you to do your job. There are consequences for all of your actions that you take. I'm sure you all know that. But I think a lot of times we guys, people in your place, and probably you guys also, put a lot of weight on the consequence of people, what people say, whether or not you get elected, whether or not they like you. There is a much greater consequence than making sure you do what people want, and that is making sure that you do what God wants. There will be judgment for how you execute your office, not just as personal people, but as magistrates. God has called you to open your mouth and speak for those who are appointed to die. Proverbs 31, Proverbs 24. He's appointed you to execute justice on evildoers. Romans 13. To praise those who do good. Romans 13. He has called on you to fear God and rule according to his statutes. 2 Samuel 23:3. We can keep going. So if any of you are Christians, if any of you are not, I would call on you to repent, put your faith in Christ. None of this matters otherwise. If you are, don't be weak. Don't compromise. Don't give in. That's how evil happens. Evil flourishes when good men do nothing and when good women do nothing. That's why there's evil happening. There is a place in Pasco that poisons babies, small embryonic human beings, to death. That is real. That is happening. This has happened before when countries have abandoned the law of God, have abandoned the kingship of Christ and killed people because they didn't love him and they did not love their neighbors. It's happening again today. You guys have a duty to end this. I know it's difficult. I know it's all the practical problems. I understand all that. But at the very least, you have an obligation to do everything you can, including speaking up and calling on your people to get this job done that they have and that you have. Thank you for your time. I call you to do this.
Thank you. Would you like to step forward, please? And are there any other comments after the gentleman here?
Good evening. I'm Eric Weinheimer. I'm a realtor. Congratulations, first of all, to all of you on the council for your newly elected positions. You've got a lot of work ahead of you, especially with the water rights issue, which I want to address. I forgot to give you my address, by the way, 2220 SLI Road, Sunnyside, Washington. I do agricultural real estate. That's my specialty. I do a lot of work with water rights. I can tell you that it's a very complex, complicated issue dealing with water rights. They have a huge impact, not only today, but they will forever. Water is life, and you need to understand that. And I would strongly encourage you to suspend what you've already put in place and reconsider through a steering committee to make sure that you're making good decisions for the long-term benefit of this community and the best use of the water in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments after lady?
Marla Marvin.
Martha.
Marla Marvin, 71 Terrace Drive, Pasco. And this is about Zara too. I just can't help it. Thank you so much for fighting for transparency. And that's the lesson for all the new folks and continuing folks on the board. It's just so important to let people know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So to the extent you can stay out of executive session and talk to the people, that's awesome. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for ethical and legal decisions. Thank you for being a person who stands up for right and cares. You care about all of the people of Pasco. You've cared about the parks, which is something near and dear to my heart. And you always did your best. You taught me a lot about the city of Pasco, and I thank you. So I wish you the best. You've made sacrifices for your family, and now you have a little more time with them. Thanks for your service.
Thank you for that. Are there any other comments? second call for any other comments. Go ahead.
Good evening. Anna Ruiz Kennedy, 523 West Bonneville, Pasco. I want to say thank you to Councilwoman Roach for her service. When I first started coming to city council meetings, I was pleasantly surprised on how cordial the meetings were, and that also reflected on, and that also made me think that that's why Pasco has been so welcoming over the years and over the decades. You know, the work that you guys do in council really does reflect and reflects on the staff, reflects on how welcoming this community has been, the growth that we've had. It really, I think it has to do with who we have in front and who has led us. So thank you for your service. Thank you for always advocating for those that don't have a voice. When you are there, you are not only talking about or thinking about those that come in front of you, but those that are not also present. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Another comment. Anyone else? Go ahead, ma'am, if you want to step forward.
Yes. My name is Rana Deeb. I live in 1806 Sagewood Loop in Richland. I own a house here in Basco, and hopefully I'm wishing to go back to Basco. I want to thank Zahra for everything she's doing. But what I want to say something for all of you. Our friend Leslie, she have a phone call earlier talking about what happening for our tax money who go to support the killing of a lot of children in the other side of the world. It's been very distracting to all of us as a human being to see that much what's going on, and it's been very hard to just leave, walk and see as a mother, to see the woman holding their kids dying, and on the top of that, thanking God because they are doing what they can do to survive. They don't have any water, clean water, food. They are not allowed to open they are locked. So I'm here standing. I don't have anything can do for those people. I just wanted to speak up and say, educate yourself. Go read about it. Look for it. Imagine yourself in those people's shoes. Those people, they just want to survive in a country living. I came here as a cost of a war. We displaced, and I'm so happy I'm here. I didn't know I have a voice. I didn't know I have a voice. I can't come and talk to you until I hear people talking to you today. People in fear who go through a lot in their life, they don't know they have a voice. You are their voice. You are the people who's looking forward to somebody doesn't have voice to make a difference, to choose a people who can represent them for justice in here and everywhere. If you make justice here, it will be justice everywhere. The more we have people stand for justice, it will be stand everywhere. You can make difference. We can make difference in your next election. You elect who you deserve to be in the place. You elect beautiful people, the beautiful people who you elect today. Please be just. Help people. You are here to help the people. They choose you to be in this position. Make your voice worth. Make what you are making worth, as the brothers say here earlier, God watching over us. This life is very short. We don't live here forever. If we live 80, 100 years, and then after that, we will be asked for every action, everything we did, why we did it, and why we don't not take an action when we're supposed to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I will take one last person. Previous Mayor Pro Tem Brown, you had to wait till the last.
Hang in there.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Irving Brown, 4701 Phoenix Lane here in the great city of Pasco. Just going to echo what everyone said, but this is to Zara. First, I'll say congratulations to everyone on the dais. Excellent job. Zara, I'm going to do it. I just think you are what God put together very well. I think you're an awesome mother. You stand for what's right and you'll fight until the end. And I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your support. But most of all, I appreciate what you have given Pasco, which is your heart. So not only congratulations to you, congratulations to what is yet to come. I think they put you on executive level for the state. Well, the state better get ready because I think you're going to do an excellent job if what's already be pre-spoken for you to do and ordained for you to receive. So I bid you good well, but I can't wait to see the next thing that you're going to do. It was an awesome experience serving with you on this city council to represent this great city, and I think you did it with a full heart. And I think the people of Pasco is not only proud of you, they can't wait to see what you're going to do next. So I'm saying it now, don't stop. Keep going because we, the constituents of Pasco, need Zara Roach. So God bless you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Those other comments in regards to some of the topics that have been discussed in City Council, we'll have those conversations with staff and we'll address them accordingly. Thank you, everyone. Again, thank you, Councilwoman Roach, this being your last meeting. We'll make some more comments towards the end, but thank you, everyone. With that, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. Item number 10, hearings and council action on ordinances and resolutions related thereto. Oh, I skipped it. Number 9. Take it back. I'm looking at the crowd as I'm trying to read an agenda. We'll take a 5-minute break and wait for the room to clear, and then we'll resume here in 5 minutes. Starting here shortly at 8:16. Great, thank you everyone for hanging around this long. We'll move right along with our agenda. And we'll move on right to item number 9, reports from council and or committees. Did council members attend any meetings, any events that you wish to share? Councilman Perales.
I appreciate it. I attended the Richland Winter Wonderland festivities this past week, and it was really good. I went just to have fun with my family, but they have a couple of things that I think we could probably bring here a little bit. Not trying to piggyback off anything, but definitely it was really good. They had they have the John Denton Plaza and lights and stuff. That was really cool. They had the master singers come out and sing for about a half hour, and then we went over to Howard Haven Parks. It was kind of like a dual celebration, which I thought was cool. And then they had fireworks that I thought was awesome for about 20-25 minutes. It was really long, and then like you waited. Prior to that, you waited for the lighted boat parade to come, so you can kind of do a lot of things all at once. So just ideas. Maybe eventually you'll want to park in some way, shape, or form. And but yeah, no, it was good. It was good. Good time. And if you guys aren't too busy, I'd definitely go there on the weekends and check out the show.
Great, thank you for sharing. Anyone else wish to share on a meeting you may have attended or an event? Okay, with no one else, I will share briefly. I attended the last of the year Washington State Parks and Rec Washington State Parks meeting. Director of Fun, if you can correct me if I missaid something. Amongst everything that was discussed during this meeting was that here come January, they will be re-electing the chair for the group. The chair is always the mayor for whichever city, with the exception of Mayor Gary Brent, who is obviously elected mayor. And one of the requirements or prerequisites for the vice chair would be a council member. And so just whoever is taking over that next year, those elections will be held in the first meeting in January, which is the third Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. With that, I also want to share that, did you know that Pasco is one of the American Heritage Cities? Well, we are. And there's a window decal that they've come up with. They're inviting everyone in the cities, to, if you find this decal in any window, preferably found at either city halls or other park-related places, go up to this decal, scan the QR code that you can see on there. It'll tell you where the other historical places can be found within the Tri-Cities. So I'll give this back to Director of Fun. You can find this decal somewhere here in the hallway. I know Director Jesse will find a better place for it other than my car window. That's where I planned on putting it originally. But scan the code, do the scan, scan the code, really. Here I'm eating my words. Anyways, it'll locate other places, fun places for you to visit throughout the Tri-Cities. If you want to learn about World War II, if you want to learn about other fun things to do within Pasco, Richland, Kennewick, scan that code. And it can be found here somewhere within the City Hall. So there's a scavenger hunt for you. Find the code. Any other council members have anything else to say? City Manager, do you have any other comments?
Were you moving miscellaneous as well? That was the reports from committee officers, I believe. I thought there was a motion to move miscellaneous. Was that correct?
Yes, correct. The miscellaneous discussion was moved to Yes, so it was prior to 9, and it was moved up to before the oath.
For the oath. I missed the miscellaneous discussion. I'm sorry. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
It
Thank you.
was moved. So at this point, if you have any other comments
Yes,
to
real
add
quick.
to miscellaneous discussion.
Some good news from our Public Works Department. Thank you. Sorry for missing that.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Just wanted to report that we received notification last Friday that the State Transportation Improvement Board has selected their list of projects to fund in the next biennium or couple of years. And we received $1.6 million for the Road 68 and Court Street intersection improvement project, which will help with a funding shortage on that project and allow that project to move forward to bid. And so that will be under construction next year. And then also in a special motion, the TIB board, or the Transportation Improvement Board, passed a resolution to grant the city of Pasco an additional $2 million for the Lewis Street Overpass project, knowing that there have been some difficulties on that project beyond the city's control, and so they've added an additional $2 million on top of the $5 million that they awarded previously. So I just wanted to be able to announce that.
Thank you for sharing.
And then the least Grinchy of us has a couple updates as well.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If you haven't heard, today kicks off Winterfest. Our Winterfest celebration is a week-long event with several activities. The activity started today is our Candy Cane Scavenger Hunt, which runs Monday through Thursday, with a chance to win a grand prize of a Nintendo Switch sponsored by STCU Credit Union. Any and all of this information can be looked at on our Facebook page or our city website. On Wednesday, we have another free movie hosted by STCU and Fairchild Cinemas, The Grinch, surprise. And that'll start at 6 p.m. and a new theater will open every 10 minutes as they fill up. Everybody will also receive a free mini popcorn, so we encourage you to come out and participate in that. And again, we have the same thing on Saturday morning, starting at 9 a.m. with the movie Arthur's Christmas. And theaters will open up every 10 minutes from 9 to 10 a.m. So again, more information on the website. And all of that leads us up to Saturday, our Winterfest Festival, which is from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Peanuts Park. Traditionally, that has been a volunteer park, so I do want to point out that is at Peanuts Park, where we'll be using the covered pavilions and a curtained-in section for both indoor and outdoor activities, which will include food vendors, entertainment, children's activities. We'll also have Santa and more than likely the Grinch, if you haven't heard. He's around in town. We have our tree lighting planned at 5:30, so we encourage everyone to come out and take advantage of that. We do thank our sponsors, STCU Credit Union, Fairchild Cinemas, and Apple Valley News Now. And then next, I want to get into the following weekend, December 16th. We have our Cable Bridge Run. Registration is open for that and rapidly filling. So if you're going to participate and hope to get one of those medals that we have, please get to the website and sign up for that. And I think that's everything for this week. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Director of Fun. Traditionally, the lighting of the Christmas tree at the park happens. Is the tree going to get moved over to Peanuts Park?
Yes, we're starting a new event this year where we're having our tree at Peanuts Park. And what we'll be doing with that tree is we'll call that our annual heritage tree. And that tree will be selected to go to one of the many city parks. And going forward, each city park will have a chance to have their own heritage tree planted for future decoration activity and recognition of that process. Perfect. So this is the first year we're going to do that. But yes, we have a big tree lighting festival planned, and I can tell you that all staff, but parks and facilities particularly, have been working on extra lighting, extra activities, and extra things. So we're looking forward to all that work.
That's perfect to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Roach.
Madam Mayor, I just want to say that I added a monkey wrench earlier with my motion by saying let's move it up in the agenda, and so I want to take ownership of that. It was supposed to be after public comment, so city manager had that correct, and I apologize I didn't speak up at that time. So I know we already did reports and we're in miscellaneous, so can we just continue on? Sure. Okay. Just wanted to get that corrected. I wanted to say great job, and I don't know who it goes to, for the Pasco Specialty Kitchen and getting its upgrade, whether that was a range or a hood or a whole unit.
could you say more about what was the upgrade there that was needed?
Yeah, so since we kind of assumed operations that earlier this year, along with the farmers market, we planned for several upgrades. But this year we focused on two of the main things. One was the overall building heating and cooling units, where we replaced all the furnaces, all the air conditioners, particularly because the kitchen has been extremely hot over the last couple of years and then too cold in the winter. So we did that first. And then what we've just most recently fixed, just wrapping up in the last 2 weeks, was the replacement of both the walk-in cooler and the walk-in freezer refrigeration equipment. And that's to help stabilize and maintain those temperatures of those foods, so those vendors are able to prepare and sell their foods as they're ready to.
Got it. Thank you so much for that update. And I know that it's needed, and it's just from years of experience. I know that a lot of first-time entrepreneurs who are using the Pasco Specialty Kitchen really use the heck out of that kitchen, and so it was necessary, needed. And I also wanted to acknowledge that in one of the updates, the city manager updates that we received, that those outlets at Peanuts Park were also upgraded, and that was really necessary after a previous Cinco de Mayo where we just had wires running around. It was noticeable and a safety issue, and so I was really grateful to hear that we had more outlets put in there. So thank you for that too. It's the small things.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. So I'll add to some of the guilt on that monkey wrench. You and I did communicate, and I neglected to send you final confirmation, City Manager. I apologize for that. But we'll just go with the flow. We're all human.
Absolutely. Thank you.
With that, any other comments from council members? Anything else you wish to add?
Yeah, I got one.
Councilman Perales?
Appreciate it. So we're doing miscellaneous right now?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So, I'll just preface this with a lot of individuals up here, we ran on things, we campaigned on things, and so when the water rights issue did come up, it reached a lot of people in my district. And so it was something I spoke out about on my campaign page, Facebook page and stuff like that. And so I'll also say that I'm an individual who likes to become an expert. I know we always hear in this chamber, so I watch every meeting, we want to defer to the experts on staff. I understand that. I love that. And I'll definitely try and get information from you. But I love learning things on my own, doing my own research, and hopefully becoming an expert on a host of issues that are going to come in the chamber. So with that said, I really looked into a lot of issues today, and I really wanted to bring forward a motion today to rescind ordinance number 4701 and for further vetting. This is unprovoked from anything that happened today. I did see the article in the paper this morning, but sometimes there's just coincidences. But I make a motion today to the rest of the council for consideration to rescind ordinance 4701, create a committee to fully vet this and get more public input. So just wanted to lay that out there for the rest of the council.
Thank you for bringing that up. City Manager, what are your comments?
City Attorney.
Yeah, City Attorney. Oops.
You know what? I'll take it. Yeah, it's I appreciate that, Councilmember Perales. The ordinance that was passed last week was an ordinance, as any other ordinance. It was properly noticed on a special meeting, passed with the required votes with regard to for ordinances, which is the majority of the body as a whole, and then takes effect, legal effect 5 days after publication. I don't have that exact language, Debbie. I don't know if you want to read that, what the very end of the ordinances say in terms of 5 days after publication. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah, long and short of it is, it's a fully effective ordinance currently in effect, and the only thing that can repeal an ordinance is another ordinance. So we would need to draft an ordinance to be able to come back and repeal that. We can rescind a motion and we can rescind a resolution, but with an ordinance we would have to actually draft a repealer, draft a piece of legislation, and that would have to be properly noticed. So. While I appreciate Councilmember Perales' sentiment, I don't think legally that would have any effect, even if it was seconded and then moved forward. I don't think it would have any legal effect with regard to the ordinance that's been passed and is in legal effect right now.
Is there any way to put it on hold?
Yeah, I looked at that. Thank you. That's a great question. I'm not aware of anything, and I looked while we're here based on some of the comments that were made earlier. And there is no, because it is actual legislation, it is law. There is no way to stay the implementation of a drafted ordinance that is fully in effect, other than repealing it. I looked for anything that there could, because all of those would be essentially motions or resolutions, which then can't affect ordinances. So there is no, that I've been able to find, and I'm certainly not aware of anything, a way to stay implementation. Would it have a huge effect? I don't know. I can't speak to that. That would have to be something that the staff would have to know what the effect of it being in place for the next few weeks would be. But at this point, I'm not aware of anything.
But I could make a motion to support the creation of an ordinance to repeal the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess then I'll change my motion to that. I would look forward to seeing a motion to rescind the ordinance that was put in place last week.
So it died because it didn't receive a second. So this next motion, it sounds like, is a motion to direct staff to draft an ordinance repealing the water rights ordinance that was passed. I guess it's 4601.
4701.
4701.
Can you state, Councilman Perales, can you state your motion?
I move to create a motion to rescind ordinance 4701 and to further vet the issue.
So just to clarify the motion, and please correct me if this is wrong, the motion is to direct staff to draft a ordinance that would repeal ordinance 4701.
Correct.
Okay, great.
There is a motion on the table. Can I get a second?
I'll second that. I think it needs discussion.
Seconded by Councilman Serrano. Discussion?
Yes, I would ask that, looking at this petition that was delivered to us this evening, I'm seeing B4 Development, I see the Home Builders Association, I see a number of development and real estate companies. Nothing wrong with that per se, but what I do find issue with, and I ask those council members that are now seated to recuse themselves from voting on this item now or in the future, are those that have taken money and endorsements from those associations on this item.
Thank you for that. Noted. And I agree with you.
And I believe those would be Councilmember Perales. Councilmember Grimm, did you also receive a HBA or trustees endorsement?
No, well.
So just real quick point of order. So questions can't be directed to each other on the dais.
Even if we're in a discussion?
Yeah, but you can't. You're not supposed to be going back and forth asking questions. It's supposed to be going through the chair. So if there's, if you want to make a statement, I think you can make a statement, ask a question, and then it would need to be the next person would need to be recognized.
Thank you. So there's discussion. There's discussion as to the validity of the individuals that have received some type of monetary compensation, endorsement, sponsorships during your campaigns. The question would be, well, the issue would be to recuse for making a motion, correct? For making
It sounds like the request is to recuse for folks to recuse themselves from voting on the motion as made.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Ferguson, just for clarification, since we cannot ask each other who received any sort of funding or endorsement, for the record, are you able to request who?
You're able to ask that question generally. You can say that I would like everybody to who received those to to say something, but they're obviously not under any obligation to respond to that or to have a back and forth on the dais.
Right. So one of the things that we council members have tried to maintain is transparency to the city, to the citizens of Pasco. We've tried to maintain accountability for our actions, and so I would like to echo that same action to our new council members. Your city is looking at you. Your city is counting on you as a whole. Not only your district, not only those that sponsored you, but your city as a whole. You represent this whole city. You represent everyone here sitting up here. You represent the council as well. And so with that, I mean, if I will put it on your plate by saying, if you received any type of sponsorship from any of these organizations on this list of signatures regarding 4701, I would just request your integrity, considering your integrity, to recuse yourself from any further discussion or voting on this matter. And with that, if you have any other comments, if any other council members wish to comment on this, please make your comment. Councilwoman Blaisdell.
I do, and I want to, for the record, there is some people on this list that have the same last name as I do. They are very distant relatives that I do not have a personal relationship with. However, I want to make it known and on record.
Thank you for that. Councilman Peralez?
Appreciate it.
Give me just a second
Yeah, go ahead.
before you, Councilman Serrano, and then Councilman Peralez.
Thank you. My purpose in seconding this motion was simply because I voiced this last week. This is an important issue that I didn't see significant outreach that we've done for various issues that have the same impact, not to just the building community, but as we've talked about, all of these fees get passed on to the end user. This will impact, probably not significantly, but incrementally, the price of housing in this area. My concern was that I didn't think that there were still some questions that I think needed to be answered. And I would like staff to answer those, and I've talked to you both offline, and primarily understanding what the absolute need is, meaning what's our delta of where we are in building and our needs for water rights. I came to understand in the break and talking with some of you that it sounds like this only impacts a handful of folks who tend to, rather than bring water rights, defer and purchase them. I appreciate that understanding. Again, I wasn't aware of that last week. And so I think my primary concern with this is I don't know that necessarily rescinding it at this time is the right move. I do believe we need additional information, but then that places people for the next 30 days in an extremely awkward spot whereby we potentially enforce it, and come January, I think 2nd's our first meeting, it's potentially rescinded at that moment. So I think understanding how that occurs if we don't immediately rescind it, and what the impact is, and whether or not that's some sort of unjust compensation or risk to the city, I think that would be helpful and beneficial to understanding where we end up. Those are the concerns I have. I'm pretty disappointed at the approach of my council members and the tongue lashings that these new council members have received. They're up to the job. I don't agree with all of them. I flat out don't. But at the same time, we need to give them a chance. And if they do things that we see are unethical, I think it needs to be called to the carpet. But making assumptions it's been pretty disappointing watching the past several meetings and the approach to new council members. So with that, again, I don't know that I necessarily support rescinding it, making a motion to rescind it. I do think that's probably our safest bet, because it gives the staff some action, and hopefully you have direction on what we're looking for. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I support rescinding it. I want to be clear about that.
Thank you for your comments. Councilman Peralez.
Appreciate it. So I looked at the list, and I did not take any money or received any support from any of these people on here. So you did mention the Tri-City Association of Realtors. I did receive their endorsement and funds to my campaign. Other than that, that's really about it. But this issue is not, I'm not doing this on their bidding. Again, I saw the issue. I didn't come to the meetings in person. I do them from online, just other obligations at the time. But I felt like I put myself in the shoes of people who were sitting up here. Now I am. I felt like I didn't see the right information. And I've just seen a lot of things come through the city hall that we just kind of defer to what the staff wants. There's nothing wrong with that if that's your perspective and what you guys want to do. I personally am not going to do that. I want to look at issues, I want more information. And when I was sitting there online watching it, I didn't feel like I got enough information to make a good judgment or make a yes vote for this. And so that's why I'm bringing it forward. For an example, during the redistricting, that kind of came out of the blue. Apparently that whole process happened in a vacuum. Then we had like one meeting, and then all of a sudden we need to vote on it because of COVID and all these. I get that, but I like public input. I loved it earlier. We had an hour worth of comments. I want to hear people. And so that's just my approach that I'm going to take. And like people said earlier, I also like to speak truth to power. And this is kind of going to be my approach. And I apologize. This has been kind of a fire rod of an issue. I mean, I didn't know that there was going to be an article in the paper this morning, but I still stand by the motion, and I feel like we need to properly vet this. And then once it's properly vetted, bring the developers in. Let's talk to them. It shouldn't be our local government versus developers. It should not be. Because at the end of the day, like many people said in there, it's going to hurt people who are not able to buy homes. The people are not able to buy homes right now in this city and in this county. And it's things like this type of policy is impacting that. And if I can assist that and get people into homes by vetting this and making sure it's not impacting that, then I'm happy with that. So other than that, I don't feel like I need to recuse myself from this. And again, I'm not trying to stop the staff from doing what they do, but I'm going to ask questions, and I challenge everyone else to do the same, and so we can properly and get good policy. So thank you.
Any further comment? Councilman Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I should speak up and say, yes, I did receive funds from one person, the third person on this list. But to say that one person out of 41, that I'm obligated to recuse myself, I'm not sure that's right though either. The vast majority of these people I've never even heard of. I have no idea. I serve with one on a board, and two or three I've met, and that's about it of this whole thing. And so, I during this whole, just for the sake of transparency, during all this, when the discussion, I actually reached out to Mr. Lincoln and told him that I need to learn more about this. I really want to learn more about this, and he's going to fix me up with some staff that can maybe help me with that. But I can tell you that's where I'm at, is I just need to learn more about it myself. Thank you.
Great, thank you. There's a motion, it's been seconded, there's been discussion. Are there any other comments? Councilman Milne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would also like to say that I never received any kind of funds for any of these people. I did get some from the Tri-City Realtors Association, but they are not on the list. Again, I've never been contacted by anybody talking about water rights. I'm, along with Serrano and Councilman Grimm, as far as I'd like to know more information, and Mr. Peralez, I'd like to know more about this too. It's something that I'm really not familiar with. I mean, I know what was transpired, but it would really, really help to get like an in-depth, I don't know if that means talking about a committee or something like that. I am short on time, but I am kind of willing to join something like that if it could flesh something out and then maybe bring it back to council. But again, I would like to really kind of know more information on this. I know I was a no vote, but when it came up, but I would really like to know a little bit more in depth to make sure that I am making the right decision, and that, you know, it being gone through this quickly was the right decision. So I'd be definitely for doing more in-depth study on this, and I'm willing to devote some time, personal time, to this as well.
Great, thank you. For the purpose of discussion, am I allowed to ask staff for input?
That would be up to Mr. Lincoln.
Thank you. Director Worley, just because you said no, can you, I know there's a lot of questions in regards to what the outreach was, who was contacted, who were the ones in support of, who were the ones, can you just elaborate a little bit, give us a brief blurb on what you already spoke about this?
You bet. Council may recall that there was a workshop meeting, I can't remember the specific date, I think it was October, but where I gave the presentation related to this initially. And then at that workshop meeting, there was discussion about reaching out to the developers and having them participate and get information from them. So we issued out a notification to the development community and invited them to this room to have a discussion on it, and we did. There were 24 people here or so that showed up, and we had a good discussion on it. We walked away with 5 different issues that needed to be addressed, and I think I included those issues in the agenda report. And then the next item was the special meeting. And so there were, you know, after the developer meeting, didn't hear much from any of the developers or anybody else. Oh, actually, I take that back. There was one person who contacted me who was not able to make the developer meeting, had some questions, I replied, and was thanked for providing the additional information.
Okay. At that discussion, I know there was a lot of support from majority people that showed up for that meeting. There was a lot of support for it to move forward.
There was a lot of support, or I should say a lot of recognition that the water rights acquisition fee should reflect the current market rate for water rights. And so how to go about doing that, I think there were differences about how to go about doing it. Some questioned the surcharge, and that's why it was changed when we brought it back to council. We thought there was a better way to deal with that, and so that people wouldn't get charged with it if it didn't necessarily apply. And so, but I think everybody at the developer meeting understood that what we really wanted were folks who have water rights and wanted to develop their property to transfer those water rights to the city so that we could use those water rights to serve the new development. And that was our goal. And what we've been hearing in the community is that wasn't being done. And so that was the intent of this, was to try to get that to happen.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. And I know you've done a lot of background work on this as well as your staff. With that information on the table, to our council members, do you need any additional information or clarification as far as this resolution?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Blaisdell.
If we were to vote on the motion that was just put out, what's the harm in coming up with another ordinance to get more information to make sure we're making the best decision for the citizens of Pasco?
So the motion and second that's on the floor is to direct staff to come back with a repealer ordinance at the first meeting of the year. That would have no other effect other than just completely repealing it and starting completely back from zero. The other option is to direct staff to come back with some kind of amendment, but it sounds like that it's not really clear what that would even look like, what the direction to staff would be for the amendment. So it sounds like there might not be enough information for staff to go forward with.
So my understanding, Councilman Perales, is you wish to direct staff to draw up a resolution to rescind,
An ordinance to repeal?
to repeal, that's the word, repeal 4701. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And with that, once that is voted on, then staff gets direction to come back with a new resolution.
So no, we would come back with a repealer ordinance at the first meeting, and then it would be up for discussion, potentially some kind of amendment. It would be tough to take an ordinance. That's why I'm trying to be careful here, because it would be tough to take an ordinance that's meant to repeal another ordinance and then try to tweak it so that it amends. We could potentially do a couple different options. A repealer ordinance is very straightforward. It's one sentence, but we could do some kind of amendment or leave some kind of blanks, but then you're having to do something on the fly, which is hard.
What is your, Councilwoman Blaisdell?
So does that pause the current, it doesn't pause it. So
It repeals it.
wait until the new ordinance comes into play, and then we vote again come January?
That's correct. Yep.
So
If you wanted to pass
between
another
now
one.
and January, the one that's currently in place is still active.
Absolutely.
Any other, Councilman Milne?
Yeah, I don't know what Steve Worley's schedule is, but I would throw this out here that maybe, I mean, again, I know with Christmas time it is difficult with people traveling, and like I'll be gone for at least a week. But I would throw this out there maybe that we, not pass this, but actually maybe have a meeting with Steve Worley and his staff and try to get some of these developers in here and have a couple council liaisons to flush out what really the issues are. And then come January, if there's something needs to be tweaked, then we vote on, some kind of tweak. So we're not having staff to vote all this time to just start all from scratch. I mean, again, I don't know if Steve Worley's amenable to this, but I would definitely be more amenable to that than to start all over. And so I'd like to know what your thoughts are, if I may.
I am at the service of the city, so I'd be happy to do that if you would like.
Okay, well, I'm definitely amenable to that, but I'm really not for starting over. But I would like to see if it needs to be tweaked, we could bring in some of these people that are amenable, that want to do that, and see if there's any small tweaks that we could do. And I think that's kind of what Councilman Serrano was maybe referring to.
Before I turn it over to Councilman Serrano, City Manager, you have a comment?
I was just going to say, if that's on the table, that would be, I think, the most preferable method from staff's perspective. Just, it seems like it accomplishes an additional round of outreach or multiple rounds of outreach, and then allows us to amend something that's already been created, which hopefully yields and plus we'd have another voice on council at that point as well. Hopefully it gets to what the new body is looking for from a policy standpoint.
Great. Further discussion, Councilman Serrano?
Yeah, just so I guess since Adam's mentioned, since that's not on the table, I think we're gonna have to vote this, and then if it fails, we'll go there. Since we talked about kind of wish lists, I'd like to know the direct impact of cost of housing. How much incrementally, what the pass through to the consumer will be. I want to really understand, and then obviously, again, as I mentioned, what our delta looks like and what our actual utilization of this ordinance will look like. As I believe I caught again in that break, it sounds like only a small percentage actually this will impact, and this is, and just hammer me home with, this is by choice, right? It's an election of the developer to do this in lieu of passing water fees, correct? Or in lieu of passing rights, correct? So the option is to either pass rights they currently own or purchase at market rate. Is that my.
Can you repeat the question again and make sure I understand it?
I just want to make sure that, because as I was explained, this happens, in small circumstances, limited circumstances. And I just want to understand the two choices. One is that a developer would naturally pass water rights, and then the second is utilize this ordinance to purchase them or pass some sort of fee to this. Is that, am I miscomprehending the intent of the ordinance?
So there's a couple of things going on here. First off, we had a fee prior to last week for for water rights, and people were paying $17.25 per acre foot if they didn't have water rights to transfer to the city. So, because that fee was so low and the cost of purchasing the water rights is so high, it took a long time for the city to gather enough money to go purchase the water rights to replace what people were using. And so what this ordinance did was it, one, looked at the market value for the water rights, and we came up with $41.50. And so that was going to replace the $17.25. Initially, that's the first thing. The second thing is that it does add a surcharge if a property has had the water rights removed in the last 10 years. With the idea being that if they moved it because they moved it to another property, sold it, whatever, then they would pay the water right fee plus a 50% surcharge. Okay. And if a property never had water rights on it, which there are many, then they don't pay the 50% surcharge. They just pay the market rate for the water right, no different than what they paid prior to last Monday.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I recall catching pieces of that. It was definitely late for me, but I do appreciate that. And so, yeah, I think that these are things that need to be. I'm hoping we can flesh out through time, and I understand this city's position. I do have concerns with repealing it, saying we're going to repeal it potentially in a month, and what does that lead us to in legal limbo in particular. That said, I do think at a minimum, regardless of where this motion goes, some sort of, I hope staff's getting clear direction on what some of council would like, and maybe we're in the minority, we'll see. Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? With that, there is a motion, there's a second, and I will call for a roll call vote on this.
If I may, Madam Mayor, just so we're clear, because I know there's been some questions like this when we've done these things in the past. So just to be clear, that the motion, I just want to restate, the motion is to direct staff to draft a repealing ordinance to come back to council on January 2nd. Correct. That's all that's been motioned.
Councilmember Roach?
Debbie, there's another comment. Did you have another question or comment before we move forward?
Well, I feel like I don't know what we're voting on because I don't know what the
Sure.
ordinance is. You know what I mean? I don't know. What are we voting on?
So if you vote yes on this particular motion, you're voting for staff to draft an ordinance to repeal what was passed last week. If you vote no, then the status quo will remain in place. The current ordinance remains in place, and staff has no further direction.
Right, but we don't have a clue what staff's gonna present.
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure I got this clear.
Okay. Apologies, we can move forward.
Okay. Councilmember Roach?
No.
Councilmember Serrano?
No.
Councilmember Perales?
No.
Councilmember Blaisdell?
No.
Councilmember Milne?
No.
Councilmember Grimm?
No.
Mayor Barajas?
No.
It's unanimous. It's defeated.
Okay. So this one in particular has been defeated. There will be no direction to staff to repeal 4701. Do we need to make another motion? I can almost hear it coming in. I know there's a choice for further discussion. City Manager, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I think Mayor and Council that it would be worth hearing what feedback you have on next steps so that we can have the direction to make sure that if we need to hold meetings or draft any further amendments, that we have the opportunities to create that record for you all.
Councilman Serrano.
Yeah, that would be my feedback, to conduct those meetings. So I'm going to fall back on the position that I took, but expedite it. I'd like to move this further discussion of ordinance 4701 to the first workshop in 2024. Presumably that's the 9th of January. So I would like whatever comes out of any inquiry, discussion, analysis in the interim to be discussed regarding ordinance 4701 at the first workshop dated January 9th, 2024. January 8th. Yeah, that's right, because we're Tuesday. And then, yeah, okay.
So
Thank you.
do we need to make a motion on
That,
that?
that is my motion, that
That
we
is your
have January 8th, there's a workshop item addressing ordinance 4701.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Serrano, motion seconded by Councilman Grimm. And I will take a roll call vote on this as well. Sorry, before I do that, discussion. Is there any discussion on this? Councilman Perales.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with what Councilman Serrano said. Obviously, it looks like a rescission probably wasn't the best avenue, but yeah, I would direct staff to let's get some numbers, let's get some input, and I'm open. I'm here to do the work, regardless of what past council members were alluding to. I think a lot of us up here to do the work, but I don't want to put it straight on people's schedules. It is December, and so, but if people are open up to have meetings, I'm here to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Grimm, do you
I'm-
have a comment?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still just where I want to be. I just want to learn more. I'm glad I got my first email into City Manager Lincoln to learn more before all this started. And so whatever workshops, whatever one-on-one time I can have with Director Worley, I just need to learn more about this, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Councilman Melny.
Yeah, I'd recommend again, depending on Steve Wardley's schedule, if he feels that there needs to be a meeting, I'm amendable to that as well. As long as it's after January, that'd be much better on my schedule. But I am willing to take off some time off of work to flush this out. If you want 3 council members, I would put my name up for that. But if not, if you think the workshop is the best option, I would then obviously go for that as well. Just to leave it with you and your staff. I just want to make sure that you and your staff have time. But we could get all players in, and not everybody could come in at the evening. Some people have things going on in the evening, so maybe a workshop might not be the best, but I'm willing to take some time off in an afternoon if you think that that's a good decision. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Roach.
I won't be present here in January, but what I will say is that in alignment with this discussion about being transparent and including developers and the public in the process, it would make more sense to do a public workshop so that they have that for on streaming or video for later, as opposed to an ad hoc committee. I think it should happen here in council chambers.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with that. Councilman Serrano.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, as Mr. Maloney said, all players, I think this needs to be publicly available. It needs to be announced on the city's communication tools, and I'm not going to list them. There are several. And then if no one shows, no one shows. You know, we've made a big deal about nothing, and hopefully people show that represent all interests. And then we can get, you know, if there are competing interests, that will be well briefed by staff, and then we can analyze that and see where it comes out. So I appreciate the time that we're going to take on this. Director Worley, as always, I appreciate your professionalism. I know you're working hard at the city's best interest, and you know it's okay for us to agree to disagree on times, and I really appreciate it. I just please don't take this as a shot or anything. I know that you care about what you do. I appreciate the time that you put into this.
Any further discussion? With no further discussion, I just want to say, Director Worley, thank you for staying with City of Pasco. Just want to put that out there, but I also do, I also do want to, I guess, clarify my previous comments in regards to transparency and accountability. This was no comment directed at anyone in particular. My comment was not to question anyone's integrity. My comment was that our city council, as it's sat here for, I've been here 6 years now, we are accountable to our community, to City of Pasco. My comment was directed to, I hope that we can continue that same level of transparency and level of dedication to the City of Pasco. So with that, would you have a motion? There's a second, and I'll call for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Milne.
Yes.
Councilmember Roach.
Yes.
Councilmember Serrano.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm.
Yes.
Councilmember Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilmember Peralez.
Yes.
And Mayor Barajas.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, and it passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion. So we'll move forward with our next item on the agenda. Chief Roski would have been upset with me right now. Item number 10 on the agenda, hearings and council action on ordinances and resolutions relating thereto. We do have public hearing and ordinance number 4702, right-of-way vacation at Wyoming Avenue. Director Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. As mentioned, this item has been prepared as a public hearing for this evening and as a follow-up to the staff report and the presentation prepared for City Council on November 6th. For this item, the applicant KNS Enterprises LLC has submitted a petition for the vacation of a right-of-way, public right-of-way located on North Wyoming Avenue between the streets of James and East Superior. Chapter 12 of the Pasco Municipal Code outlines the process for right-of-way vacations. And generally, just a little bit of background on right-of-way vacations, these typically occur when, in this case, the City of Pasco relinquishes its interest in a public right-of-way. And they are typically initiated by the owner of a private property that is abutting or adjacent to the area in question. These petitions must explain how the right-of-way has no future public use, nor will its loss adversely impact current or public future needs. So in this particular petition, the applicant and staff are seeking to actually correct an error that occurred in 2016 where council approved a right-of-way vacation. However, the right-of-way vacation for this site, however, the legal description was not fully encompassing of the proposed area as intended. So staff's been working with this applicant dating back to the spring of 2023 and to move forward with fully vacating the remaining right-of-way here. On November 6th, council approved resolution 4389, which established December 4th this evening as the date for a public hearing to consider the request. I do want to mention that to date, staff has not received any objections either to the public hearing or to the petition request itself. When determining the right-of-way vacation request, staff defers to the council established criteria that's adopted in the Pasco Municipal Code in 12-40070. And I'll briefly go through that criteria for council this evening. There's 4 criteria, with one being the vacation shall not adversely affect traffic accessibility and circulation within the immediate area, or in the city as a whole. And staff's determined that proposed vacation will provide right-of-way continuity along North Wyoming Avenue as was previously intended in the ordinance adopted in 2016. Criteria number 2 is that the right-of-way is not contemplated or needed for future public use, and the staff has determined that we review the vacation petition and finds no need for public future use of the proposed vacated right-of-way. Criteria number 3 is that no abutting property will become landlocked or its access substantially impaired, and staff has determined that that will not be the case with this proposed vacation. And final criteria is that the public needs shall not be adversely affected, and the vacation will provide for a public benefit to serve a public purpose. And staff has determined that this request meets and is in compliance with this criteria.
Staff also wants to add that during the review of this vacation, like any other, we make sure that there's not any potential impact with access or circulation to both public uses or emergency services, along with whether this would be detrimental to any adopted plan, project, or program adopted by the city, including those within the adopted transportation system master plan or the 6-year traffic improvement program. So staff has concurred that the proposed vacation request meets the criteria established by council, and is happy to entertain any questions from council this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from council before we open this hearing? Hearing or seeing no questions on this, is there anyone in the public that wishes to make a comment or a statement on this item? Second call from anyone in chambers to make a statement on this item. Third and final call for statements from chambers or public. Seeing none, this hearing is now closed. And with that, I will defer to Councilwoman Blaisdell for a motion.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4702, vacating a portion of North Wyoming Avenue, right-of-way and phrase addition to Pasco, Washington, and further authorize publication by summary only.
There's a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Serrano. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes unanimously. Thank you for that, everyone. And with that, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, ordinances and resolutions not related to hearings. Resolution number 4705, approval of Washington State Department Revenue temporary agreement for tourism promotion area fees collection. I will defer that to our Deputy City Manager, Ms. Sigdell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. The item in front of you today is an agreement with Department of Revenue that they will collect the tourism promotion charges on city's behalf for the year 2024. In the staff report, you'll also see some additional information about what is happening with our TPA. That does not just include Pasco, but our neighboring cities of Kennewick and Richland as well. And essentially the issue at hand, this agreement itself is a standard agreement of collection of TPA on our behalf by Department of Revenue. But the other issue that we've been notified of recently is the fact that there are quite a few jurisdictions, the TPA areas, that have whose ordinances are in conflict with the law, with the RCWs. And so they've given us some time to either come in compliance with the RCWs that relate to TPAs, or allow for us to work with our legislators to fix the issue so we can move forward in the way that we have been operating in the last decade or more. So we're working through those issues with in partnership with our neighboring jurisdictions, as well as Visit Tri-Cities, who gets almost all of the TPs that we collect. So we're going to be working through that in 2024, and we will be updating the council as we go through that process. And the agreement today is essentially a standard agreement from Department of Revenue, allowing them to collect the TPA on our behalf. And essentially what happens is Department of Revenue collects the TPA fees, and then they remit it to the city, and then we take that amount and then we give it to Visit Tri-Cities. And so that's how that process happens. And with that, I'm open to any questions that you might have.
Long title. Ms. Sigdell, thank you. Are there any questions? My mic was off. Are there any questions? And we do have Councilmember Peralez with some questions or comments.
Yeah, no, I had a question. I mean, I read through that, but I really didn't see. So why is it that our city and many other areas are not in compliance with that, in regards to the TPA?
We're not quite sure how it came to be, but there are certain areas that Department of Revenue is stating that we need to be collecting TPAs from. Like, for example, maybe RVs, where you can kind of go in, hook up your RV, that might be considered as equivalent of tourism. Airbnbs might be some. So they're adding, what they're saying is that there are certain designations that we should be collecting the TPAs from as well, that we currently exclude from our ordinance. And so that is the issue.
So then we were missing out on money.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's the only question I had.
Thank you. Councilwoman Blaisdell.
So now that I'm a hotelier and I have to ask this question, when you stay at a hotel past 30 days, you're considered a resident, and you do not have to pay taxes. Do you happen to know if that would fall under the TPA?
I do not believe so, but I can check on that with Department of Revenue. I believe that gets into where you're renting and you're a renter rather than a hotel space. Yeah. But I can check on that and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Roach.
This has more to do as a parting comment as the sitting board member for Visit Tri-Cities currently. And I want to offer this up to whomever is going to take that place on the Visit Tri-Cities board come the new year. I will share this comment with Visit Tri-Cities as well later this month when I attend my final meeting. But it's been made known to me that, and to the board itself, that we have some process improvement to make in how we get RFPs, requests for proposals, and some financial policies or procedures within that organization, and to clean that up. And so that's a concern that I have for whoever that next board member will be, that they participate in that, and that as part of those financial policies that we do go through an RFP process if the contract is above a certain threshold. And if so, that we also prioritize local owned businesses. So that is something that we're dealing with currently on the board. And I just want to air that right now as we're discussing this TPA, because those funds do go to Visit Tri-Cities.
Thank you for your comments. Any further questions or comments on this? Hearing none. Thank you. I appreciate your comment regarding the next person who will be taking over that meeting. A great point. With that, can I get a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 4405, authorizing the city manager to sign and execute a temporary agreement for the State Administration of Tourism promotion area fees between the city of Pasco and Washington State Department of Revenue.
There's a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilwoman Roach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes unanimously. Thank you. With that, we'll move right along to item number 12 on the agenda, unfinished business. I'll look over our city manager for any unfinished business discussion. He's nodding his head. Thank you for that. Item 13, new business, approval of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, or LTAC, recommendations for 2024. And I will turn that over to Ms. Angela Vachon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight before you is a request for the approval of the allocation of 2024 lodging tax funds. Funds are collected through the state authorized collection at Pasco lodging facilities for stays under 30 days and can be used to support the operation of municipal tourism facilities, events, and tourism marketing. Lodging tax allocation is done through a competitive process through the City of Pasco's Lodging Advisory Tax Committee, or LTAC. And the city, let's see here, the city received and recommends the approval of the 13 applications it reviewed this year, and those are included in your packet. Per RCW, the city council must either accept the recommendation from LTAC, or the council can determine the recommendation is not acceptable and remand the matter back to LTAC. And I'm trying to make this as brief as possible for you guys.
Great, thank you for that. Do we have any questions or comments? Councilman Perales.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a couple questions. I was looking, this is some serious dough. I mean, that's quite a lot of money. And so I guess the one that stuck out to me was Visit Tri-Cities, actually, because, I mean, all the cities gave them a $2 million budget. Then as I know, they came back and asked for another $225,000, like investments from a previous year. And then now they're asking for another 185. And so, I mean, that's a lot of money. So I guess, I don't know. I think we, as a body, we give money out. And so I guess, I think a lot of people even alluded to it during those meetings. We need more like measurables. Like what exactly that money going to, how's it impacting, how's it promoting economic development? I mean, cause that's a lot of money to, redo their like marketing and website and stuff. I'm just, I guess that was my only comment. I mean, that's a lot of money. And then also, the other question I had was in regards to, the Cinco de Mayo Festival. And I know I've asked questions, to City Manager Lincoln. I thought it was interesting because we're seeking out $15,000. So is Cinco de Mayo going to be a city? We're going to start seeing that the DPDA is no longer doing that anymore. We're assuming the role of a couple of those events then.
There will be more information in the upcoming executive session. However, I would just say that the direction from council has been, for now, to be the managing entity for all previously DPDA related events and activities.
Okay. Other than that, like I said, I would just, I think I'll speak more offline, but I just think for some of the money that we're giving out, I would like to see, what was the measurables, as opposed to, these applications are really bare. So I just, I want to see that money's actually impacting. I know it's some tax dollars and stuff. And so just be a little more vigilant about who we're giving money to and what the economic development impacts are. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Serrano?
Thank you. The one that stuck out to me, and it looks pretty straightforward, I just want to clarify and confirm. Time Magic Studios, it appears that's to make a video that's kind of Pasco-centric to drive additional tourism or overnight stays here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it and I was like, well, what's this? And then I read it and just want to make sure I'm good on it. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Councilwoman Blaisdell, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommendations for the 2024 funding allocations as presented.
There's a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Serrano. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes unanimously. Thank you for that. With that, we move on right along our agenda here. Moving on to item number 15. There is a need for executive session, and I'm looking at our deputy chief. I'm just glad Chief Roski is not there. He would have given me the stink eye. And I just want to clarify that we have a great relationship with our staff. We appreciate everyone. And just before you walk away, those of you not staying for executive session, I want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad a todos. With that, we do have a need for executive session, consideration of the minimum offering price for sale or lease of real estate if there's a likelihood that disclosure would decrease the price per RCW 42.30.1101C. Factors influencing the price include location, price, and use of the property. And item B, discussion with legal counsel about legal risk of current or proposed action per RCW 42.30.1101I. for 20 minutes. So it is 9:25. We'll return at 9:45. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Thank you, everyone, for waiting. It is 9:51. We do have a need for an extension for another 5 minutes to return at 9:56, 57. It is 9:58 and we are back from executive session with no other items on the agenda. This meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays, everyone, and we'll see you back in January.